Thanks for joining us today. Today we have a very special guest, as we try to do each week. Today our special guest is the former Vice President of the United States and presumptive candidate for the Democratic Party for President of the United States, Joe Biden. Joe, as many of you know, is an old friend, and I've had the chance to work with him on a number of big issues over the years, including gun violence. We also worked together while he was overseeing the federal government's response to the financial crisis in 2009. You might remember that we didn't work quite as closely together this past winter, but we've always been united in our love of country and public service, and that's what this is all about. During Joe's time as vice president, Joe also helped manage the White House's effective response to the H1N1 and Ebola epidemics. And as we heard from President Obama, their administration prepared for future pandemics as well and wrote a playbook for how to respond at the federal level. So he has a lot of valuable experience in dealing with these issues, and we're glad that he could join us today. Now, to fill you in a little bit, Joe, this group that you're going to address has come together like this every Thursday for the past 9 weeks. In each session, experts in public health and management share the latest information and guidance, and mayors have the opportunity to ask questions about how they can apply these things in their cities. It's also been a platform for learning what other cities are doing and for sharing experiences and strategies, because there's a lot that each of these cities can learn from each other. So far, 275 different mayors have participated in the weekly sessions, and almost 400 cities are receiving technical support or assistance with best practices. And we've seen the impact in community after community where mayors have led the way in acting early and adopting a public health framework for making decisions. And now, as pressure builds to reopen, they are putting health and science ahead of politics. We've also had, Joe, quite a few special guests join us, including Presidents Bush, Clinton, and Obama, as well as Speaker Pelosi, Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland, and Bill Gates. Ultimately, we created this program to empower and give voices to mayors and to make sure that their voices are heard. So, Joe, before we turn it over to you, I just want to pass things off to someone who's been at the forefront of this crisis since day one and is a perfect person to set the stage. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan. Seattle, as many of you know, had some of the first cases in this country of the virus, and her team showed how important it is to be aggressive and proactive in responding. And that really has saved an awful lot of lives, not just in Seattle, but nationwide. She has also done a great job working to bring together the local, state, and at the federal levels as part of a larger response. So we thought she'd be the ideal person to describe to you what this process has been all about from the ground up, and to give you a sense of how mayors are working with each other and other levels of government. And so with that, Mayor Durkan, the Zoom is yours.
Mike, thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I know I speak for everybody on this call and mayors across America to say thank you to you. Cities in America and across the globe could not have a better friend than you. You did it yourself firsthand. You brought your city back from 9/11, but you continued to make sure that we had the resources that we needed. And when this crisis developed, you know, one of my first calls was to you and to see what help you could give us. And this platform today is something that I think I and all mayors across America know is invaluable. We've had such a lack of federal leadership and no playbook, so we've had to rely on each other, on our public health experts, and on the community of mayors, governors, and others who are listening to that public health advice and moving forward. When I ran for mayor, I knew it was going to be one of the most challenging and rewarding jobs, but I never imagined we would be at the forefront of a global pandemic and having to move forward to protect everyone in our city from this new virus without very little federal assistance. Putting together the playbook would not have been possible without the help of you and also all the mayors, not just here in America, but across the globe who've been battling this. Since the 11 weeks since this pandemic hit Seattle, we've worked really closely with our state governor, our county executives, our federal delegation, so that we could have one message and one unified action to protect our citizens. As you know, cities really are the forefront of America. It used to be that states were the laboratory of America, but now it's cities. We are the safety net, and we're the place where innovation happens. We're also the place where there are no partisan potholes or red or blue garbage cans. We have to serve everyone at the same time. And having worked together like this has really made it possible for us. And in Seattle, we listened to our public health experts. And as you said, because of the research, we knew that the handful of cases was not really just a handful of cases, but represented hundreds of community spread. And we're able to come together to take a plan to do the very painful thing to shut down our economy, but to keep people healthy, safe, and to protect our healthcare system. We know as we move forward, there will be no new normal. We are going to rely on and need a federal government that is a full partner and leader. And that's why I'm very excited to hear from our guest today. Vice President Biden, I was honored to serve with you and President Obama as U.S. Attorney here. I know firsthand how you not only were involved in H1N1 and Ebola, but also throughout your career, you're a mayor in your heart. You know that what government does affects real people, and you've stayed every step of the way to make sure that those actions did. We deeply need federal leadership to help cities through this and to go to a new America, a better America that is more equitable and more just. And with that, I, with all mayors, welcome you to this, to hear from you, and never forget your mayors. Thank you very much, Vice President Biden. The Zoom is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Jenny. Mayor, you're doing a great job, and thank you for your support. Look, I was smart enough never to run for mayor. It's too hard a job. Everyone knows where you live, and you affect their lives more than anyone else does, from the president on down, because it all happens on your doorstep. And Mayor Bloomberg has been one of the great mayors in this country, and also one of the great leaders in the country. He stepped up in ways that most people wouldn't even think about doing. And Mike, thank you for putting this all together. I know it's been underway for some time now. It's not brand new, but I want to thank you for always stepping up and just the extraordinary challenges. And you bring people together all the time, Mike. And I'm here because I want to say thank you to each and every one of you out there for everything you're doing, each mayor, to meet this moment. And I know this is a really anxious time, and I hope that your families and your constituents are staying safe. And I know many aren't. Think of all the people out there that are in trouble. Think of all the lives that have already been lost. Think how long it took for you to get the kind of help that even began to flow your way early on, And you more than most have been on the front lines of this crisis. The American people are seeing what leadership looks like, and it's coming from the mayors of this country. So I want to commend you and for the example you're setting for the public and for public service, and the lives that you're saving by responding to this pandemic with science, facts, and the well-being of your people you serve at being the focus of everything. I don't have to tell anybody this, but this virus is insidious. It exploits pre-existing cracks in our economy, in our economic system, in our healthcare system, and our infrastructure, quite frankly, in everything. It has hit the working class families the hardest. 40% of the families making less than $40,000 a year experienced a job loss just in the month of March alone. In March alone. And we're already in the middle of May, heading toward the end of May. Unemployment has soared to Depression-era levels. And this morning, more than 36 million people have now filed for unemployment. And the truth is, it didn't have to be this way. Preparation could have saved an awful lot of lives, forestalled the need for some of the social distancing measures that we're seeing now. And we're going to need an overwhelming moral response to put this economy back on track and our cities back on track. Relief needs to go to people who are hurting the most. Your Main Street business owners, mom and pop shops, women and minority-owned businesses. We need more federal funds to support state and local budgets. You all required to have balanced budgets, not a requirement federally. So you can keep people employed, so you can keep your communities running. The federal government, in their new package, they have to vote and step up and help you with state and local funding. Emergency service workers, keeping us safe under incredibly difficult conditions without the protective gear that they've needed. And we knew ahead of time, all the way back in January. Mike and others and I, we were talking about the need for us to move much more rapidly. The municipal employees working flat out to get those unemployment checks out into the hands of people who need them. The Congress provided for another $1 billion to help accommodate the extra help was going to be needed to get these checks out. Look, teachers going above and beyond to keep their students engaged and learning. And while we still have debated about whether or not we're going to increase the quality of the internet so everyone can get online. And of course, the response of your governors is critical too. Ultimately, though, it will be up to the people to decide that their city, their town is safe. And they won't have the confidence to make that kind of choice unless they have federal resources that you need. We have an opportunity to come out of this crisis stronger than we went in, and so much more than just returning stability to people's lives. We can take a great step forward. At every crisis we've ever had in the United States of America, and there's been terrible crises we've gone going all the way back to the pandemic in 1918, we have come out stronger and better as a consequence of it. There's an awful lot of people. Look, we've lost over 80. Look at all the lives that have been lost so far. All those homes that are without someone sitting around the table. Every one of us has an example to set and a role to play. And I know you want this conversation to get going. So let me just say, I think you all are the ones who are right there. We all talk about it. I used to say that, I used to be a local official, a county council person. And I ran for the United States Senate because it was easier. Because when you're a local official, they know where you live. You affect their lives more than anything else that happens. But you don't have the tax base. You don't have the ability that the federal government has to borrow and go in debt, et cetera. So, I want to thank you all for what you're doing. You're serving with dignity. You're showing people real leadership and what it looks like. And so there's much more to say, but I was told to be very brief. But here's the deal. We have to focus on the needs of ordinary people who are getting clobbered. They're getting clobbered right now. And the unemployment rate is really particularly hitting those folks who are in real trouble to begin with. And so this new package that's been put through, which is this stage 3 here of the recovery. And they haven't started recovery yet. This is to make sure that we deal with upscaling the economy so we don't lose more jobs than we already have. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really, really hard for all of you. And I just want to thank you, Democrats and Republicans out there, for being willing to step up and take on this responsibility. But you need help, and you're not getting the sufficient help you need, in my view. I was told to keep this to 3 to 4 minutes, so that's why I've not gotten any detail. But I just want to say thank you, because you impact on the lives of the people in your community more than anyone else does. They look to you. And the bad news is they know where you live. They know it's local. It is local. And you all are stepping up, Democrats and Republicans. But you need more help. You need more help. But that's another story. And Mike, I want to thank you. You've always stepped up. You're putting this together. You've always stepped up all along the way. And you've done more to bring the cities around than about anybody in the country. And I want to thank you for it. I want to thank you for your friendship. But as I said, I'm probably already going over my time, but thank you. God bless you. And may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice President Biden. It's a great honor that you spend time with us. Thank you for offering your perspective on the social inequality that's exacerbated by this crisis. This is a topic we'll keep coming back to in every of our sessions. And thank you for offering the perspective on opportunity in this crisis, opportunity to transform. I know many mayors keep sharing with us practices on how they navigate the crisis, but also on how they see opportunity and seize opportunity as they go along. So
Can I say one more thing? I apologize, just very briefly. The amazing thing about the United States of America is that every major crisis we've ever faced, we've not only handled it and come out of it, we've come out stronger and better. We have a chance to come out of this crisis stronger and better by dealing with some of the significant institutional inequities that exist in our society that have been laid bare now. The blinders have been taken off. The American people are now realizing the people who keep this economy going, the people who keep it going, the people who keep us safe are not only law enforcement and firefighters and first responders, but that grocery store clerk who's risking their lives, still keeping the shelves stocked, making sure the mail shows up. We have a new appreciation that people said, God, I didn't know that. I didn't know these folks. I didn't know it. And I think we have a chance not only to come out of this, but come out of it stronger than we went into it. That should be our focus, I think. But I'm getting into your time too much. I apologize. Thank you
so much. Deeply appreciate your comments. And this is an action-oriented learning community, and we keep learning from each other. And we'll give an opportunity today, again, for mayors to share the challenges that they're facing, but also to share the practices that are emerging to navigate this crisis. I want to thank Mayor Mike Bloomberg and Mayor Jenny Durkin for their remarks as well. Thank you so much.